All right, I just want to thank everybody for making time here today. And again, we're going to adjust the order. I'll go over the rest of the agenda for the day, but we wanted to give Shital a chance to talk with all of us. I wanted to let you know that I met Shital when we did a national discussion panel for the campaign for grade level reading, and that national campaign is now something that we're working to bring to Wayne County. We've had our first initial meetings around that with the campaign. And when we were prepping for that panel, I found that you can read a very robust and impressive and auspicious description of Shital's professional career. But when I talked with her as somebody that understood community, somebody that understood schools, and somebody that is very, very real. In the packet that you received today, you've got a 2015 interview with Shital, and you can read through that to hear more about community schools. But it is nice to talk with somebody that has been doing community schools work and community schools advocacy for some time. And so Shital in our room today, we have nonprofits, we have business leaders, we have superintendents, we have philanthropic entities, and we are gathered for a community schools rally today. We really appreciate you joining us and being part of the rally and kicking us off for the day. So I'll turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Jay. And apologies to everyone who has to see me on the big screen. I don't know that I would want to be in your position right now, but thank you, Jay, for allowing me to zoom in to your, what is, when I saw the agenda, what looks like a great agenda and conversation for the afternoon. Again, my name is Shital Shah, and I serve as Senior Advisor on Strategic Partnerships to the U.S. Secretary of Education, and honored again to be spending some time with you. And it was a pleasure to meet Jay a few months ago when we were on the panel, and he did share with me a short link of the work that is happening in Wayne County, and it's amazing. And I think we need to make sure that the stories and the work that is happening in Wayne County is shared far and wide. So Jay and everyone out there who's involved in this work, please continue to send us information on the work and stories of how your students are being impacted, how your families are being impacted, the voices of your educators and what they think about this strategy and all of the great work you're doing. So I know you have a lot on your agenda, so I'm going to keep it short so I also don't miss my flight. But the points, Jay shared with me some of the points of discussion that will be taking place, focused on opportunities, challenges, cooperating on root causes, how you're going to deploy and share the resources are extremely critical, which is obviously why you're talking about them. But it made me think, Jay, you know, these are the conversations that need to be happening on a regular basis with exactly the types of stakeholders you have in the room, including students and families. And so as you think about and delve deeper into the conversations, you know, for us, it's extremely important at the department in every conversation we have, no matter what grant program, whatever, no matter what policy, the two questions we ask are how are we going to not just engage, but ensure that student and family voice is always at the table, whether it's on guidance or policy or grant programs. So having said that, as far as the community school strategy goes, it's a no-brainer for the department. Our Secretary of Education, as well as the Deputy Secretary, have both been sort of engaged in community partnerships and ensuring that community partnerships are also helping connect to the academic component of the school day and is not just focused on the enrichment component, but they're connecting the two in order to support the academic and social emotional learning of our students. We know that addressing the needs of the whole child is extremely critical, and this comprehensive strategy that you all are working on is one of the best ways, as far as we see it, as well as the president, one of the best ways to impact or to address the impacts of the pandemic that we know has reached every single person in all of our communities. And also a really great strategy for reimagining how our public schools can continue to better serve every single student. But we also know that supporting our students and families is something you guys have always done, even before the pandemic. It's just that the pandemic has finally, hopefully, opened the eyes of those folks who weren't engaged in this strategy. and/or have helped others see how they can contribute to the great work that you have happening right now. For us at the department, we want to make sure that we substantially increase the number of students, schools, and communities that are implementing this particular strategy, along with other types of comprehensive whole child supports. We know, you know better than I do, that our public schools continue to serve a growing number of students who come from low-income families, as well as those who are living in low-income communities. This was the case before the pandemic, and this continues to be the case. But we also know and acknowledge that schools are being asked to meet more and more needs. And in order to do this, we need the structures to be able to do so. And for us, we see that the community school infrastructure provides that sort of flexibility in terms of staffing, structure, and partnerships. Our families and communities' futures depend on the quality of public education we can provide, but also the other wraparound supports that are very deeply connected, such as what type of environment are they learning in? What type of education and resources are going to set them up to continue to succeed even after they leave your school buildings? And so for President Biden and Secretary Cardona, they believe that this strategy should play a vital role in building our education system back better than even before the pandemic. We've already taken steps to act on this commitment. The president has requested for the FY21 budget an increase in funding for the full service community schools program, which is a federal grant. If you raise your hands if you're familiar with this grant program. Awesome. And hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll be able to share an application. So Jay and team, stay tuned for that public announcement. And we also issued guidance, and I can share this with Jay afterwards if you haven't seen it, but how the American Rescue Plan funding, the ESSER COVID relief funding, can be used to launch or accelerate your community schools work. We have a number of examples, and I'm happy to share via email some of the examples of how districts as well as states are using their American Rescue Plan money to support the work. And while there are definitely federal funds, inclusive of the two examples that I shared, but also the 21st Century Community Learning Center monies and Title I. And back in 2009, in Title I, the community school site coordinator became, what was it? Sorry, I'm like ad-libbing off of my comments that I have jotted down, but in Title I, you can fund a community school coordinator. It's a permissible or allowable use through Title I funding. But we also know that there's only a limited amount of federal funds. We know it takes a village to move, but also to deepen the work, right? Once you get it started, how do you sustain and continue? Even with the federal funds, right? They're not forever, especially the ARP funding. And if you have a full service federal grant, they're not forever. So how can we continue and move the work? And those of you sitting in the room are part of the answer. It's the public and private partnership component of this. Where we see this work happening, there's blended and braided funding of both public funds and private funds, and also in kind, right? There's so many assets that lie within your school building as well as in the community. And folks just need to be asked. And you guys, I'm preaching to the choir, none of this is new. And what I want to impress upon you is that this for us is an extremely important strategy to move forward, and anything the department can do to help you in those efforts, connect you to other organizations. Jay already has a ton of connections, but as the deputy secretary and the secretary are traveling across the country and visiting schools, they're seeing really great examples that we would love to also share so that you can learn and deepen your work. And the bottom line before I quickly close is that I think all of us in the room, and I know at the department, believe that no student should have to choose between academics and the essential things that they need in life to succeed. Collaboratively creating a positive environment where our students, as well as their families, feel valued, accepted, and learn how to be productive results in more confident children and higher academic achievement. We know that. We don't need data or test results to show us that. And we know what is right, and you all are doing it. And I am just thrilled, one, to have learned more about the work you're doing. And I do hope you will stay connected and continue to share on the progress that you're making. And so with that, I want to just, the one thing I've learned in my almost 20 years of being connected to the community schools work is that it all starts with trust, relationships, and collaboration. And it's not just trust amongst yourselves, but it's trust amongst, we know this, those of you who are in the classroom, you know this. If a student doesn't trust you, no matter how great of an educator, a school counselor, a cafeteria worker you are, if they don't trust you, they're not going to connect with you on academics or anything else. And so, but that also, I feel, and we forget that as adults sometimes, is that that's a key component of our work together, is trust, and trust beyond the money, right? Money should not bring us to the table. It's the end goal, which is why you all are spending your afternoon, a Wednesday afternoon, I forget what day of the week it is sometimes, a Wednesday afternoon together, because you want to collaborate, and trust is fundamental to that. And it really warms my heart to see you all there, not to sound cheesy, but it's not too often I get to speak with a group of folks who are doing the work that I love and know is important. So on behalf of the Department of Ed, we thank you, your educators and community partners and philanthropic partners, for all the work that you're doing, and I know you will continue to do on behalf of Wayne County. So thank you. Thank you, Jay, for the opportunity.
Shital, thank you. I hope that everything goes smoothly with your flight, and we look forward to you boarding the plane and come out and discuss sometime perhaps next spring. So stay well, and look forward to speaking again soon.
Great. Thank you, Jay, and we'll connect hopefully soon.
Take care now.